it's time to highlight one of our 5-star reviews on Apple Podcasts. Are you ready?
Yes,
I'm ready.
Come on.
D'Amica S says, we are a must listen. This podcast is awesome. I really feel like I'm a silent partner in one of my girlfriend's chats.
Oh,
D'Amica's so sweet.
love it.
And listening audience, if you want us to highlight one of your reviews, go and leave us 5 stars on Apple Podcasts, and then keep listening and we might shout you out next time. Now let's hop into the confab experience.
I'm a really pretty creative person. I like crafty things. I like to also bake a lot. When I used to go into an office, I used to bake a lot because I would make something and I would take it in the office and people would eat it and they'd be like, "Oh, this is so delicious." Blah, blah, blah. Then they're like, "You should open a bakery. You should open a bakery." And I was like, "I don't want to open a bakery because I like to bake. I don't ever want to wake up in my life and say, God, I don't feel like baking today." Hi, everybody. Welcome back to another episode of the Confab Experience. Hello, ladies.
Hey there.
How are you doing?
Great.
Good. TGIF.
True.
Mm-hmm.
Always. So speaking of sort of a Monday through Friday, 9 to 5, I thought today we would talk a little bit about jobs, the state of the economy, the state of just work life these days. Because I know we've already talked about how, the idea of college now isn't quite what it used to be. And I feel along those same lines, the idea of like your standard 9 to 5 job isn't really what it used to be, the idea of it, going into work every day. So what are your thoughts on sort of the typical 9 to 5? I mean, is it still stable? Is it necessary? What do you think?
I feel like when we addressed this in, a couple episodes ago, milestones, we kind of touched on like our vision of life. And in my vision of life, it was very much like go to high school, go to college, work a little bit, go to grad school, get a great job at, these different points, and work until I'm, 65, retire with money, and then, and then at that point in life, enjoy whatever money I'd amassed over those however many years.
Right.
And I feel like that vision is changing a little bit for me.
Oh.
Like it doesn't feel like that corporate job is like the end all be all. And I think that has a lot to do with not only in this moment, but in many moments in my career where it feels like the people who were the most loyal at a company, they would say goodbye to, in an instant.
Without even thinking about it.
In an instant.
So true.
Yeah.
So true.
Which I think the first time that happened when I was younger, it was shocking. Like, I'm like, no, that's the company man, like.
Right. The one who stayed until 6 p.m. every night.
Yes.
First one in, last one out.
Yes.
Yep. True.
And they just, let that person go, no problem. It just was a little bit of a wake-up call. It's been a wake-up call, over the past however many years for me.
So along those same lines, Leanna, like I think I can think of the first time, right? Because for me, I have this image, like you grew up, I remember like watching Ally McBeal and thinking how fun it was to work in an office. And it was so fun. And I just wanted to be like, maybe not Ally McBeal, but fun, like have that kind of fun. And then I just remember the first time I saw people walk out. And the feeling
What do you mean walk out?
Like, hi, thank you, we no longer need you, walked
Get walked out.
Walked out.
Like security comes to your cube,
Thank you for your
pack
time.
up your shit, and walks you to the door.
I got it. Get walked out.
Do you need anything else? These glasses, just that? Okay, walked out. Right. And I just remember I had two thoughts. I remember talking to someone who was a little bit older than me, and two thoughts. The first one was, every major decision that involves you happens in a room that you're not a part of, like you're not in. Mm-hmm. And I didn't really like that feeling. Mm-hmm. And then my other thought was, I don't need very many decorations at my desk because I'll be damned. I will be damned if I need anything other than my purse.
Grab my purse.
Grab my purse and I'm out.
Head held high.
Bye. And then outside, like right. On that walk out though.
That's true. I think if nothing has been learned from this whole pandemic, this coronavirus situation, is that everything can change in an instant. Mm-hmm. And it's like, I always, most of my time I've worked in a city job, and those are supposed to be super stable. Mm-hmm. Hard to get fired from a city job. It's not so easy to get, but if you get it, you're good until retirement, right? Mm-hmm. And then all of a sudden, they told everybody to go home for a few months. And then it was like, all right, we don't have any money. We might have to lay off 22,000 people. These are things that are just, the idea even is like, well, that's crazy. Yeah. But like, that's the environment that we are all in now, where this pandemic has shown us how quickly everything can change. Mm-hmm. Yeah, and it can be unnerving. So like, what do we do in the meanwhile? Like, what do you do so that you're not completely rocked, completely off kilter by if you had to lose your 9 to 5?
Well, I think that, there's I guess probably not a new concept, but I know there's this like FIRE concept that these young kids are working at, and it's like financially
young kids,
financially
whippersnappers.
Yeah, and I guess like one of the cornerstones of that is to have like all of these side hustles. Like any kind of side hustle you can do. It's like sell T-shirts or do like the Amazon selling thing where you buy off of Alibaba and then resell it on Amazon, or drive Uber, and like all of this extra cash. Any extra cash you make, you either invest or you buy like a rental property, and you sort of do it that way. And so I think like, to me, that's appealing because same, Leanna, like the goal was definitely get a corporate job because that's where the success is, right? Like, I go into an office, I wear a suit, I'm important, But having been there for a while now, it's kind of like, I can kind of do it without corporate America. I don't know how much longer I can really do it. So I'm trying to figure out, what it is that I can do that I'd be able to tolerate doing as sort of like a gig thing, or a side thing.
But it's gig economy is real right now. Like everybody is gigging.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, I mean, I think before, for me, right, it was like corporate life felt like it would be stability, and now it's shifted into if you don't have a side hustle, then you don't have the stability.
Right.
True.
Right. Everyone.
There was this.
You must have more than one income stream.
Yeah, I was going to say the same. This preacher preached one time about having 7 different income streams, and that's biblical, and that all these streams lead to, it gives you greater force, and you need to be able to diversify. So if something falls off over here, you're okay here, and you have something else. And I remember thinking, oh, wow, that's dope. Like, I really need to have more than one income stream. Mm-hmm. Yeah. And I've tried.
Yeah, as the hustler of the group, Monique.
Right.
I've tried.
Tell us about it.
How does it work?
I mean, listen, I thought back, I was like, when did I first start doing this? I've always been like creative. And then so when you create a bunch of things, then it's like you have them. It's like, oh, well, what the heck I'm gonna do with 16 little
Right.
flower bouquet, little boutonnieres or whatever. Like, this is fun to make. I'm gonna make 20 of them, and then I'm like, oh well, I have 20 of them. I don't need this anymore. So like early when I was young, I started doing like little jewelry, making this, and I could always take it to church and sell it. Sell it to my family, to my church family and friends. So like I think really early I started doing that kind of thing. And then I'd switch interests so often.
Right.
Like I get really into something and then I'm all right, it's something I can do, but I don't have to do. I like having a lot of different ways that I can make some extra money. So my 9 to 5 is definitely what pays the bills.
Right.
But all of the other little stuff is how I had the extra money.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
I don't know if I could like live off of I guess you would just kick everything up a notch.
But you have to be able to kick it up a notch. And for me, that is the struggle of it all, because like Monique, there are all these little things that I like to do that I'm good enough at, like people will pay me something for it, but there are two things that happen. The first is I lose interest really quickly. I probably have more of an affinity toward acquiring things than I do with actually like using them consistently.
What do you mean by that? Acquiring what kinds of things?
Well, I'll just give you an example of this week. A few years ago, this week. A few years ago, I watched on YouTube, because YouTube is the devil, about like this crafting machine that I just needed to have. I needed to have it. It was this mink crafting machine. I could foil all kinds of things. This thing is so like insane. And it wasn't
expensive.
Cheap. It wasn't cheap. It wasn't so expensive, but it wasn't cheap considering it's a laminator. Okay. Considering it's a laminator.
Okay.
I bought this thing, and I can't ever buy the small one. I always got to buy the big ones, because what if I want to expand? Let me get what I need now. So I made one thing, and I put it on the shelf, and it has stayed on the shelf for, honestly, at least almost 5 years, until this week. Until this week, when my daughter, had virtual class, and I said, I wonder if I could use this as a laminator. Let me check.
You wondered if you could use your laminator as a laminator?
Because it's not called a laminator.
It's not a laminator.
Not a laminator.
Right.
Not a laminator, damn it.
It's more than a laminator.
It's more than a laminator. And
It
so
laminates foil, folks.
Exactly. Evenly. The heat evenly distributes.
Right.
So I acquired things, and that, I gotta tell you, is the least of it. And I know Monique is trying to get me to say more, but it's the least of my troubles. But like, I don't follow through, right? Like, I could make money at it, but I get stuck in the details, right? I get stuck in the process. I get stuck in the like, oh, well, I want to look professional, even though I'm not really professional, but it costs money to have these websites, and it costs money to do this kind of thing. And I'd like to have this system in place, blah, blah, blah. The list goes on and on. I saw literally a cheese grater, and somebody called it a jewelry organizer, and they had that junk on Etsy. And I said, why can't I be more like the lady with the cheese grater? And so that's what scares me about the gig economy. That's what scares me about it. Not that I can't do certain things, but.
Well, the problem is, I think if I were to have another income or business, we'll say, because when people count income streams, it's also stuff like dividend income from investments and stuff like that. But if I were to start another business, it would have to be something that was very utilitarian for me, because I'm a really pretty creative person. I like crafty things. And I actually have a business that really is only a business because you need certain licenses and insurance to like sell things at these craft fairs where I sell them. But it's a hobby. Like, it's just a hobby. It's something that I enjoy doing. It's a creative outlet for me. So for my problem is if to get to the point where I could make any sort of income off of it, the production would have to ramp up so hard that I think I would stop enjoying it. And I like it too much as a hobby for that to happen. I remember, so I like to also bake a lot. And I used to bake when I used to go into an office. I used to bake a lot because I would make something and I would take it in the office and people would eat it and they'd be like, oh, this is so delicious. Blah, blah, blah. Then they're like, you should open a bakery. You should open a bakery. And I was like, I don't want to open a bakery because I like to bake. I don't ever want to wake up in my life and say, God, I don't feel like baking today.
Can I just for the listening audience, Siobhan is kind of skating over her skill right now. I remember one time she made me this like snickerdoodle cupcakes.
You said you wanted a snickerdoodle.
I like in passing, I'm like, snickerdoodles are my favorite cookie. And she made these like snickerdoodle cupcakes that were, I mean, it is the way that she crafts these things. It's like, you're like, well, damn, you should make some money off of this.
It's really good. And they're so pretty. Everything's so pretty.
Like, I understand people's, compulsion to make that suggestion, but still it's like, I made them for you because I wanted to make them for you.
Yeah.
Like, I wanted to like make you smile and like make you have a nice day and be thoughtful, for you. But it's like, if it was out of love, you know?
Yeah.
Oh, if I got to make some for Karen and Karen's going to be like, why these cupcakes look this way? And I paid for this and I pay your bill. It's like, that's not something that I really need for something that I like to do.
Yeah.
If it was something like, the Amazon selling thing and someone had a problem with it, or if I did like a Shopify store or something like that, like, okay, fine. Karen, I'll deal with your issues.
Why Karen? Why is Karen always the complainer?
I don't know why Karen, okay?
Karen a little bit of a dangerous
He complains a lot.
Because it's a little bit of a dangerous loop because it's almost like the thing that you're passionate about is probably the thing that can, generate you, income.
Right.
And
because you do put care into it.
Yeah, care and love, and it's your natural, like, God-given ability that like not many other people possess. But then you don't want to pull that joy out of it, but that's what separates you. That's what naturally separates you from everybody else. So,
because listen, I know somebody who bakes, and she loves to do it. It's terrible. She has a whole business, and she's made 6 figures doing it, and her stuff has been rock solid.
So that to me is the thing that you mentioned before, Stacia, which is also my hesitation, which is this need for perfection, and that is not a criteria.
It's just that about
really
you.
Not.
It's just
Anna,
not.
I never
really
noticed that you need.
You know what? You know what? But no, it's like it just there are people who will buy the cheese grater with the earrings.
We'll give a link to that.
A market for that. Yes, please. Y'all need
to see it.
This thing.
Yeah.
There's a point. I understand Siobhan's point like perfectly, because there is so many things that I like to do, and then if I'm just making something for a friend, or if I just want to do it and people just like what I'm doing, then fine. But like, you remember that Erykah Badu, like, I'm an artist and I'm sensitive about my that's how I feel. So like, if I draw something for you, make something, paint something, whatever it is, right? And it's like, oh, I really would have liked it with more blue, or if you would have really just switched it this way. I'm like, no, but this is the way that it's nice.
Right.
You know what I mean? Like,
I
don't care what you said. I'm the artist, and this is how it should be.
Right.
You're wrong. And so, but you can't do that when
People are paying.
They're
And
paying,
you're
or
paying
at least
your
you get to a
bills with what
certain
they're
level,
paying.
and then
Yeah.
you're like, then you're the expert.
Yeah. Yeah.
But it's hard to move those kind of passions to like from just a little gig to actual product that you can really sell.
Right.
Right.
So the other thing too, right? Because Siobhan and I have had this conversation about the many things that I like to do that could make money that don't make money. And this idea that like, because I like it and I don't want to tarnish that or what have you, like there are tons of people, not anybody on this call, but there are tons of people who get up every day and go to work and don't like it.
Mm-hmm.
But they do it because they got bills to pay.
Right.
I wonder, and Monique has said this to me before.
I was just about to say it. We ain't hungry, y'all.
And maybe that's it. Like maybe we were hungry about it. Like we would be like, you know what? I really do like taking pictures. Let me go try to have this,
Right.
Pay people to take pictures. I'm out here like, but the lighting wasn't right. And I didn't do the rule of thirds here. And there are people right now that
yeah, because we're not hungry enough. It's
right.
The whole first question was, is a 9 to 5 still relevant? We still all have our 9 to 5, 10 to 6, whatever it is that we work, right?
Yep.
So this is all just extra for us. So we don't have that same passion to get after it in the way that you really need.
But I'm such a wantrepreneur, right? Like I want
a wantrepreneur.
I really
like it.
I really want to, right? Because I read this book. Maybe I'll mispronounce his name, Richard Kawasaki. Am I saying that correctly? Rich Dad, Poor Dad. One of the first lines in that book is the people with the golden rule is the people with the gold make the rules. Mm-hmm. So like you often can't get to gold with just that 9 to 5. Right? Because what happens is you create a lifestyle around that 9 to 5 that you sometimes need to generate extra, things for. And so I really want to like be one of these people like on Instagram who, is out. I watch these couples on, it's my guilty pleasure. I watch these couples prank each other on the gram and whatever. And they like sit there and they're like, baby, it's your birthday. Here's $1,000, $2,000, $25,000. And I'm like, $25,000? Where these little kids get $25,000 from? They get it from doing what they like to do.
Yeah.
I mean, that might be all they have. So that's another conversation altogether. But like the way they stump for the gram, I'm like, I'm gonna be like that too. I would live in pools and like, what is it? Lifestyle caviar dreams.
Pain wishes and caviar dreams.
Yes.
Oh, a little Robin Leach. Blast from the past.
Just out here dating ourselves.
No, I know. Well, I think though that like the people, because it is, I mean, you see these people, these Instagram influencers and people on YouTube who are, I mean, they make $20,000, $30,000, $50,000 a month, right? Which is crazy. But you also have to go back to like look in their video archive. They've been making videos for like 4 or 5 years too. Mm-hmm. And so how many of those 4 or 5 years were they making nothing? Right? Because residual income is the thing on YouTube, right? Like the more views you get, so the more videos you have, the more money you're going to make, because people will be like, oh, I found this channel. Let me binge a few of these videos,
Right.
And that's how they make their money. So it's not like, oh, I'm going to start a YouTube channel and by the end of the year, I'm going to be rich. It's like, you definitely have to put the work in.
Yeah.
Fair.
But then again, you also have to have the resources to do that, to be able to be broke. Although I did see have you guys seen, he's a TikToker, and I'm not on TikTok, but the guy who does it's like angry inspiration or angry something like that, and he'll watch people's videos and he'll be like, that looks really good.
No.
I'm glad you did that. Have you seen this guy?
No.
It's so funny. But apparently he's homeless and making these videos from his car on TikTok.
And he's, you know, got now millions and millions of friends or subscribers or whatever you have on TikTok. I feel so old because I have no idea. But he's like this really successful TikToker now. So I guess you don't necessarily need, you know, the whole setup and the whole zhuzh to get if you have a good concept. But I don't know. Maybe I'm just making excuses for myself on why I haven't done any of these things yet. I'm comfortable.
That's all it is. We're just not hungry enough.
No.
What, Stacia?
I was about to say I want to be hungry, but that's not true. I just want to have the drive. I just want to have the drive to do it. I want to be out there. You know what I really want?
What do you
really want? Tell you what I really want. Okay,
really
guys,
want?
help me make it happen. There are two things that I really want to happen. I really would love to be like a wedding photographer. Mm-hmm. How fun is that? Right? And like on the weekends, you just book weddings. That seems fun. Okay, well, that's just my dream. What is y'all's dream? Siobhan, what's your dream?
What's my dream? Mm-hmm. You know what? This is gonna sound really bad. But I don't have, like, I was never a child who had a lot of like dreams. You know how some kids are like, I want to be in the NBA, or I want to be a singer, I want to be a tennis player, I want to be an astronaut, and that's my path, and that's what I see. I didn't really have that.
Okay.
I guess as far as what I would like to see for my future is to retire early-ish and do a little traveling once countries start letting us back in. And just be able to do whatever I want all day. You know, go to the dog park, bake a batch of cookies if I want, sit on the couch and binge Netflix if I want. That to me sounds really nice.
Okay.
I'm sorry that I'm not very exciting.
No. I think what you're describing is freedom. Yeah.
Well, I definitely don't think that I am like actually a 9-to-5 person. I think that my base personality is to just do these, like, if I could just afford to just live off of the random income here and there, like I just got to figure some way to, because I like doing earrings this week and maybe, you know, or maybe that'd be for like 6 weeks, 6 months, and then designing logos and then like stop, you know, like I just want to be able to do whatever it is that I feel like doing.
So why do you think you can't?
Because I can't afford to pay my mortgage with just those things. I think it's definitely something that people have where they turn their little like hobbies into actual thriving businesses. And I don't have that. I got 100 different little hustles that I can make a few dollars here or there, but they're not, any one of them are not thriving businesses.
Right.
So I think
that's what I got to learn.
I think, Siobhan, when you were answering, I was doing the wrong thing where I was thinking about what my answer would be as opposed to what you were saying. So I apologize for that.
That's okay.
But I think that for me, similar to you, it's not like this is my specific dream. I think for me, what the dream is more like I have visions of things. So like I had a vision at some point of like, I want to live in a house where I have like fresh fruit in the middle of the island that people like, you can just come and take grapes or banana or whatever. Like, that's what I want. Or like, I want to be able to like travel to some type of island with loved ones around me, kids, husband, you know, like that. that's kind of how, or like, even when I saw that movie that you're talking about that we can't remember, it was almost like, yeah, I want to have a backyard that has lots of greenery and a fire pit, you know, like that feels like that's how and then it hasn't, or of late, it hasn't really been like, my dream is to have this job, but yeah, more to create these experiences
Right.
in life. And I think for me, the biggest hurdle has just been fear. It's just fear. It's living this like fear-based life. Like I'm too afraid to walk away from the stability of my 9 to 5 and lean into whatever it is that would be, you know, the passion. And that is, at the end of it all, it's not that I don't think that I have the intelligence or the skill or whatever it is that everybody else possesses. Or I guess the one thing that I don't have is the
courage,
faith, maybe, and courage to just say, this is it, and I'm just gonna go for it, and God's got me. Even though there have been so many different points in life where it is very clear that God has me for whatever reason around finance. And I mean, I could wax poetic about why I think that is, but like around these finances thing, it is terrifying to say, okay. And I'm sure there's a way to do it where, you know, it doesn't feel like so much of a leap, but at the end of the day, I just think it's a fear.
Well, yeah, you know, I'm glad we got that off of our chest.
Right.
You know? Sometimes you just got to speak things into the universe.
Continue the experience on our social media handles at The Confab Experience.